Mahoraga and Rika. One is the most powerful Shikigami, and the other is a very powerful spirit that people call the Queen of Curses. If they were to fight, who would win? Today's video is a versus video featuring Mahoraga versus Rika. Right off the bat, let me tell you that Rika is a special grade curse, which is incredibly powerful. On the other hand, when it comes to Mahoraga, he is a Shikigami, and there is no defined grade for it. That's why we need to understand their powers to properly judge them. When we talk about Rika's powers, she possesses immeasurable curse energy, and she is also physically very powerful. If Rika were to fully manifest in her top-tier form, Gojo would be the only one capable of contending with her. In the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, Rika and Yuta fought against Geto, and here we see Rika's true form. In her true form, she was not only countering Geto's maximum Uzumaki, but also delivering even more powerful attacks of her pure love. Now, in her normal form, Rika is exceptionally strong as well, because she can independently handle tasks and easily tear apart minor curses. Yuta uses the copy curse technique, and even in this, Rika assists him by giving him a snake Fang's megaphone. Rika is so strong that in the manga, there was a time when she had grabbed Yuji, and he couldn't move. There's no need to tell you that how strong Yuji is. In the first episode of the anime, we saw him throwing shot puts all over the place. In the manga, we saw Rika fighting against a character named Ryu, and this fight was kind of balanced. Ryu is obviously powerful, but not excessively so. This allows us to gauge Rika's power to some extent. Now, coming to Mahoraga, he is also quite physically strong. I mean, just look at the height and how robust this Shikigami is. He definitely packs a lot of power. In the manga, he has fought Sukuna and Gojo, and when he attacked Sukuna, he even brought down buildings. So in some ways, Mahoraga is physically more powerful than Rika. Besides that, Mahoraga can instantly heal from attacks if he has been damaged by someone. The most OP ability of Mahoraga is that he can adapt to any attack. To adapt, the wheel on his head spins, and now your attacks won't make a dent on him. In the manga, Mahoraga adapted to Gojo's domain, the Unlimited Void, and even adapted to Gojo's Infinity Shield by spinning its wheel 4 times. When we talk about Mahoraga's achievements in the past, Mahoraga defeated a 6 Eyes user, which is a significant feat. Until today, no 10 Shadow user has been able to tame Mahoraga, except Sukuna, who may have recently defeated him. In the ongoing manga battle between Sukuna and Gojo, Sukuna was able to defeat Gojo, possibly because Mahoraga was on his side. If you look at both Mahoraga and Rika's powers as I've described, along with their achievements, Mahoraga has the edge in this. But then, Mahoraga possesses a power that Rika cannot withstand for even a minute, and that power is Mahoraga's sword. A curse spirit or curse energy is depiction of negative energy, but Mahoraga's sword is imbued with positive energy. The meaning of this is that Mahoraga's positively infused sword acts like a curse for curse spirits. In other words, Mahoraga can exorcise any curse spirit with a proper slash. During Mahoraga's fight in the manga with Sukuna, Sukuna himself mentioned that if he wasn't inside Itadori's body, meaning if he were in his curse spirit form, Mahoraga could exorcise him as well. So you understand that the King of Curses Sukuna was saying that Mahoraga is capable of defeating even him. Now you should think about whether Rika will be able to stand against Mahoraga. I don't think so. In fact, if the fight continues for a long time, Mahoraga will adapt to Rika's attacks, making it increasingly difficult for Rika. I also don't think their battle will last long. Mahoraga will defeat Rika quickly. The bottom line is that Rika is very weak in a head-on fight with Mahoraga, and it's essential to remember that the strength of any Shikigami depends somewhat on its user. Now, this might not be written anywhere, but I assume it because when Megumi used his Shikigami, they didn't appear as powerful as they did after Sukuna used them. Maybe it's also possible that Sukuna uses them more effectively, who knows? But still, I believe that if I had Mahoraga as well, even though he might be weaker, he would be capable of defeating Rika because the power difference between them is significant. But then another if situation arises here. If Yuta were to fight alongside Rika against Mahoraga, what would happen? Well, this battle would become interesting because Yuta is incredibly strong. Keep in mind that everything depends on how Yuta fights, as Rika is still a curse spirit, and Mahoraga can easily defeat her with a single strike from his sword. Then Yuta would continue to fight Mahoraga alone. Now you might ask, when Rika is with Yuta, her awakening form appears, and she becomes very powerful. However, no matter how powerful she is still a curse spirit, and Mahoraga would easily defeat her. To defeat Mahoraga, Yuta will need to take the lead, and Rika should attack from a distance. Then, Yuta will need to execute an attack that can one-shot Mahoraga. In this scenario, Yuta's copying technique will be quite useful because he can perform various different attacks, and Mahoraga will take some time to adapt to these new attacks. If any of these attacks turns out to be the one-shot move against Mahoraga, Yuta will have a better chance. The meaning of this is that Yuta's participation in this battle implies that Mahoraga will face some struggle. Even though this fight may last long, Mahoraga will have an advantage. So Yuta and Rika, by combining their efforts, can quickly defeat Mahoraga with Yuta's attacks. Mahoraga could potentially lose, but we can't say for sure. It all depends on the situation during the fight. Rika and Yuta could both win or lose, depending on the circumstances. But here, there's another situation. If a tamed Mahoraga appears, a Mahoraga who has been defeated by its user, and that user might be Sukuna, and Gojo has probably defeated him in the manga. So if Sukuna joins with Mahoraga, this fight would be one-sided because Sukuna will defeat Yuta, and no matter what form Rika takes, she can't defeat Mahoraga alone. I'm sorry, Rika fans, but Rika will lose this fight. So that's the comparison video. I hope you liked this video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll see you soon in the next one. Peace out.